The next success factor is learning how to manage your time. Now, we all have 24 hours in a day. Not one of us can escape that. So simply, it's how we perceive that time that helps us to become more effective. An illustration that I will use will be Serena Williams on a tennis court versus you or I on a tennis court. When Serena sees that ball come at her at over 100 miles an hour in some cases, she sees the ball differently than you and I would. It would be gone and over in a flash. But for her, she has enough time to calculate and swing and do what it is that she is trained to do. So simply, her perception of time is different than your or I's. So how can we apply that to real estate? Well, ultimately, we have a story about time. And in our schedules, as we go about blocking our time or simply making a to-do list or whatever that may be, whatever system you are using, oftentimes we just get into this rut. We get into, this is just the way I've always perceived time. But by applying a new set of principles, a new way of organizing our time, allows us to be able to see time differently. And again, we're not talking about controlling the time-space continuum by any means. But what we are talking about is we are talking about how to efficiently utilize our time. And the inefficiency in our time comes from the constant taking off of one hat and putting another hat on. So let me give you an example. We may have interruptions that come throughout our day. Maybe they're emails that we react to, maybe there's phone calls that we receive, maybe there's urgent client needs that we have to address. We may be on one track, but immediately we're taken to a different track because we are reacting to those things that come into our workday. So how do you combat that? Well, there are things that just are urgent and they are important and they need to be taken care of. And there are also things that are important, but they're not necessarily urgent. It doesn't mean that we have to drop everything it is that we're doing. And then there's things that just plain are not important and clearly not urgent. And those would be things that we would not want to be doing. And if we had to do them because we felt compelled to do them, ultimately we are scheduling those things as they are appropriate. So how do we get more efficiency in our schedule? How do we get to stay on that track, wearing that one hat? Maybe it's developing our marketing. Maybe it is protected time to do our prospecting or our calls. How do we minimize those interruptions? Well, there's all sorts of strategies. Maybe it's setting up an autoresponder in your email box that simply when someone sends you a message, it gives them the criteria by which you are going to communicate with them. Lets them know the time that you will be getting back to them. This is the time that you use to process your email box. And if it's something that's urgent, you also would have instructions on how they could text you. So you're really helping to mold your client expectation in a meaningful way so they still know that you are taking care of them, but you also are protecting your time so that you can be in greater service to them and your other customers as well. Another great strategy to use as you're managing your time is to really focus on specific types of days to do specific types of activities. Now, the most important is to make sure that you are taking care of yourself. Now, do you have days in your schedule that you are doing activities that are non-work related, things that recharge you, things that bring happiness into your life? Potentially they're relationships with others, maybe they're doing activities that refresh us, but it is absolutely important that you are refreshed so that you can do the work that ultimately gains you the most money. That is where we go out and we actually perform the activities that make us the most money. So you have scheduled appropriate days to take care of yourself, appropriate blocks of hours that are non-business oriented to refresh yourself so that you can be at peak performance when you have another type of day, which would be your performance-based days. It's when you are scheduling the activities that make you the most money. Now, for real estate brokers, the activity that makes you the most money is writing contracts or taking listings. Now, if you cannot do that all day, then the second thing that you should be doing is having conversations about how you could write a contract or take a listing agreement. So by blocking out time or specific days to just do those activities, what you'll find is that at the end of that day, having done those activities throughout the day, you will actually become more effective instead of having to break small little pieces, and you put the hat on and you take the hat off and you're constantly reinventing the conversations that you're having on the phone. When you are consistently in communication on the phone, in belly-to-belly conversations, if you have back-to-back appointments, you find that you will become better again at the end of the day than its beginning. And then the balance of your time and your schedule is just simply slated for all the follow-up activities, all the things that you have to do, the busy work. Maybe it's inputting listings, maybe it's taking care of your marketing or placements of advertising, just simply inspection issues, maybe it's appraisers, whatever that may be. There's all sorts of busy work, but the key is to not allow all that busy work to dominate our time. It's by segmenting our schedule into these blocks where you have time to refresh yourself. You have time to take care of yourself. That way, when you are refreshed, when you go out and do the activities that make you the most money, which are protected on your schedule, you are doing those at peak performance. And then the balance of your time, the balance of those days are just taking care of all of the things that need to be taken care of. So when you learn that system, when you learn how to effectively manage your time, you'll find that your performance, your income will all become very, very steady. They'll become very, very predictable because you have control of your schedule. You are proactively creating your schedule instead of having someone else control your schedule simply by you reacting to that.